What kind of person screams at a barista over a $4 drink? Karen Miller. That's who. The cafe was a cozy haven on a crisp autumn morning. The kind of place where the scent of roasted coffee beans and fresh pastries wrapped you in warmth. Regulars sipped lattes, their chatter a soft hum. But the door swung open with a force that rattled the bell. And in stormed Karen, her face already twisted in a scowl. She was a walking stereotype overweight, loud, her voice a weapon that cut through the calm like a siren. She clutched a half-empty sugarcane juice cup, the condensation dripping onto the hardwood floor. "This is disgusting," she bellowed, slamming the cup on the counter. "I said not sweet. Fix it." The barista, a young woman named Mia, barely 20, froze. Her hands trembled as she reached for the cup, her eyes darting to the line of customers forming behind Karen. Mia's voice was soft, almost a whisper. "Ma'am, I'm so sorry. Let me check your order." Karen's eyes narrowed, her lips curling into a sneer. "Check. You don't need to check. You messed it up. I want a new one. Now." The air grew thick, the other customers shifting uncomfortably, their murmurs fading. Mia, still clutching the cup, tried to explain. "Ma'am, sugarcane juice is naturally sweet. Did you mean a different drink?" Karen's face reddened, her voice rising to a screech. "Don't you dare talk back to me. I know what I ordered." The truth was, Karen didn't. She'd stormed into the cafe 10 minutes earlier, distracted by her phone, barking an order for sugarcane juice. Not sweet without glancing at the menu. Mia had hesitated, explaining that sugarcane juice couldn't be made unsweetened. But Karen had waved her off, insisting she knew what she wanted. Now, faced with the reality of her mistake, Karen doubled down. She leaned over the counter, her bulk looming over Mia, who shrank back. "You're trying to scam me," Karen accused, jabbing a finger at Mia's chest. "I'm not paying for this garbage." The cafe fell silent, all eyes on the confrontation. A man in a flannel shirt, waiting for his coffee, muttered under his breath, "Here we go." A woman nearby, clutching her laptop bag, shot him a look, as if to say, "Don't make it worse." Mia's manager, Tom, emerged from the back, his face calm but his eyes sharp. He'd dealt with Karens before. "Ma'am, let's sort this out," he said, his tone steady. "Can you confirm what you ordered?" Karen spun on him, her voice dripping with venom. "I ordered a not-sweet sugarcane juice, and this is pure sugar. You're ripping me off." Tom glanced at the order slip, his brow furrowing. "The receipt shows a standard sugarcane juice. We don't have an unsweetened version." Karen's eyes widened, her face a mask of outrage. "Are you calling me a liar?" The tension escalated as Karen's accusations grew wilder. She claimed the cafe was targeting her, that they'd deliberately given her the wrong drink to humiliate her. Mia, now near tears, tried to apologize, but Karen cut her off. "You're useless. I want a refund and a new drink, or I'm calling corporate." Tom stepped forward, his voice firm. "Ma'am, we'll make you a new drink, but sugarcane juice is naturally sweet. If you'd like something else, we can offer that instead." Karen's jaw dropped, as if the suggestion was an insult. "I don't want something else. I want what I ordered." The absurdity of her demand hung in the air, a stubborn refusal to admit fault. But then, a twist emerged. The man in the flannel shirt, who'd been quietly watching, spoke up. "I was here when you ordered," he said, his voice calm but clear. "You didn't let her explain. She told you it's always sweet." Karen whirled on him, her face a mix of shock and fury. "Mind your own business," she snapped. But the man didn't back down. "I'm just saying what I saw." The woman with the laptop bag nodded, her voice quiet but firm. "I heard it too." Karen's eyes darted between them, her confidence faltering for the first time. The room felt smaller, the walls closing in as her narrative unraveled. Karen's face flushed a deeper shade of red, her hands balling into fists. The cafe, once a sanctuary of warmth, now felt like a courtroom, with Karen on trial and the witnesses stacking against her. She glared at the man in the flannel, then at the woman with the laptop bag, her lips trembling with rage. "You're all in on this," she shouted, her voice cracking. "You're ganging up on me." Mia, still behind the counter, clutched the edge of the register, her knuckles white. Tom, the manager, kept his composure, but his eyes were steely. "Ma'am, these customers are just stating what they saw. Let's focus on fixing this. Would you like a different drink? We have unsweetened teas or water." Karen's head snapped back to him, her sneer returning. "I'm not drinking your tap water. I want my sugarcane juice. Not sweet. Like I said." The man in the flannel sighed, shaking his head. "Lady, you're not listening. They told you it doesn't come that way." Karen's eyes narrowed, but before she could fire back, the woman with the laptop bag spoke again. "Maybe check the menu next time," she said, her tone sharp but measured. The comment landed like a dart, and Karen's bravado wavered. For a moment, she looked like a cornered animal, her anger masking a flicker of doubt. But Karen wasn't one to back down easily. She straightened, her voice rising again. "This is outrageous. I'm a paying customer. I'll sue this place for fraud." The threat hung in the air, absurd but chilling. Mia's eyes widened, and she glanced at Tom, who raised a hand to calm her. "Ma'am, no one's defrauding you," he said. "Let's review the order together." He pulled up the cafe's digital order log on a tablet, showing the time-stamped entry, "Sugarcane juice. Standard." Karen's eyes flicked to the screen, and for a split second, her confidence cracked. She knew she'd ordered wrong, but admitting it was unthinkable. Instead, she doubled down, her voice booming. "That's not my order. You changed it." The accusation was desperate, a last-ditch effort to save face. Tom's patience was wearing thin, but he kept his tone professional. "Our system logs orders as they're placed. This is what you asked for." The man in the flannel snorted, muttering, "Give it up already." Karen's head whipped toward him, but before she could lash out, a new voice cut through the tension. It was the cafe's owner, Sarah, a no-nonsense woman in her 40s who'd been listening from the back. She stepped forward, her presence commanding. "Enough," she said, her voice low but firm. "I've heard everything, and I've got the security footage to back it up." Karen froze, her mouth half open. Sarah continued, unflinching. You ordered sugarcane juice. Mia explained it's naturally sweet. You ignored her. Now, you can either accept a different drink or leave. The cafe was silent, the weight of Sarah's words settling over everyone. Karen's face twisted, caught between fury and humiliation. You can't talk to me like that. She sputtered, but her voice lacked its earlier fire. Sarah crossed her arms. I just did. And if you keep disrupting my business, I'll call the police. The mention of law enforcement was a jolt, and Karen's eyes darted around, searching for an escape. The customers watched, some with pity, others with quiet satisfaction. Mia, still shaken, wiped her eyes, while Tom gave her a reassuring nod. Karen's world was crumbling, her authority slipping away in front of strangers who'd seen through her bluster. Karen stood frozen, her hands trembling as she gripped the counter. The cafe's hum had vanished, replaced by a suffocating silence. Sarah's ultimatum echoed in her ears, and the eyes of the other customers bore into her like spotlights. For the first time, Karen's bravado faltered completely. She opened her mouth to argue, but no words came. The security footage, the witnesses, the undeniable order logit was too much. Her face, once a mask of arrogance, now betrayed a flicker of shame. She muttered something incoherent, then grabbed her purse and stormed toward the door. But Sarah wasn't done. Ma'am, she called, her voice cutting through the air. You still owe for the drink. Karen stopped dead, her shoulders stiffening. She turned slowly, her eyes blazing with defiance. I'm not paying for that trash. She snapped, but her voice trembled. Sarah didn't flinch. You consumed half of it. That's $4. Pay, or we'll handle this legally. The threat of legal consequences was a hammer, shattering what remained of Karen's resolve. She fumbled in her purse, pulled out a crumpled $5 bill, and slapped it on the counter. Keep the change, she spat, as if the gesture preserved her dignity. The door slammed behind her, the bell jingling faintly. The cafe exhaled, the tension lifting like a fog. Mia, still shaken, managed a weak smile as Tom patted her shoulder. The man in the flannel chuckled, breaking the silence. That was something else, he said, and the woman with the laptop bag nodded, her expression softening. Sarah turned to Mia, her voice gentle. You okay? Mia nodded, though her eyes were still red. I didn't know what to do, she admitted. Sarah smiled. You did fine. Some people just need to learn the hard way. The customers returned to their drinks, their chatter resuming, but the air felt different, lighter, as if the cafe had reclaimed its warmth. Outside, Karen stood by her car, her face a mix of anger and humiliation. She'd come in demanding control, but left exposed, her mistake laid bare for all to see. The lesson wasn't just about a drink. It was about accountability, about the cost of refusing to listen. Days later, the cafe buzzed with its usual rhythm, but the story of Karen's meltdown lingered. Mia, now a little more confident, shared a laugh with Tom as they recounted the incident. The man in the flannel became a regular, always tipping extra, as if to make up for the chaos he'd witnessed. The woman with the laptop bag left a glowing review online, praising the staff's patience. And Karen, she never returned. But the lesson she learned rippled beyond the cafe. She demanded the impossible, refused to admit her mistake, and paid more than just $4. She lost her pride, her credibility, and the illusion of power she'd clung to. The world doesn't bend to tantrums, and sometimes, the smallest battles reveal the biggest truths. For Mia, it was a reminder of her own strength. For the cafe, a story of resilience. And for anyone who heard it, a call to check their own assumptions before pointing fingers. Life's too short to scream over sugarcane juice.